A guy spilled his drink on me and said, "Buy better clothes, peasant," at a rooftop party. Then he showed up to his Monday job interview, where I was the hiring manager. The Friday rooftop party was supposed to be relaxing after a brutal week of interviews. I stood near the railing in my faded jeans and plain gray Henley, nursing a gin and tonic while my friend Caitlin talked about her latest dating disaster. The venue was packed with tech industry people, and I was ready to blend into the background after spending all week in business casual. A group of loud voices erupted near the bar, 5 guys in expensive suits, laughing too hard at jokes that probably weren't funny. The tallest one, maybe 6'3", with perfectly styled blonde hair and a watch that cost more than my car payment, was holding court like he owned the place. His voice carried across the rooftop as he described closing some massive deal, gesturing with his drink. Caitlin rolled her eyes, saying something about finance bros always being the loudest people at any party. Monday morning would bring 3 final interviews for the senior developer position at my company, NextForge Solutions, and I'd been reviewing resumes all week. The tall guy from the bar started moving through the crowd, his entourage following like pilot fish, and I shifted position to avoid their path. But rooftop parties have limited space, and he was heading straight toward us. His group surrounded us before I could suggest moving, their conversation drowning out the ambient music. Caitlin tried to continue talking, but gave up when one of his friends literally stepped between us. I backed up against the railing to give them space, but the tall guy turned suddenly with his drink held loosely, and the entire contents of his whiskey sour splashed across my chest. The cold liquid soaked through my Henley immediately, ice cubes bouncing off my stomach. For a moment, everyone in the immediate vicinity went quiet. I looked down at my ruined shirt, then back up at him. He stared at me like I'd materialized out of nowhere, his face showing annoyance rather than apology. I waited for the automatic sorry that should follow accidentally dumping a drink on someone. Instead, he looked me up and down with obvious disdain, taking in my wet discount clothing. His friends were watching now, sensing entertainment, and he played to the audience. He said in a voice loud enough for half the rooftop to hear that maybe I should buy better clothes if I wanted to hang out at places like this. The word peasant came out of his mouth with such casual cruelty that I actually wondered if I'd misheard him. Caitlin's face went from shocked to furious in seconds, but I put a hand on her arm before she could tear into him. The tall guy's friends started laughing, one of them making a comment about the dress code being pretty relaxed these days. He pulled a money clip from his pocket, peeled off a $20 bill, and tried to hand it to me while suggesting I use it to upgrade my wardrobe. The humiliation was clearly intentional, designed to establish hierarchy in front of his audience. I didn't take the money, just stood there dripping whiskey. He let the bill flutter to the ground between us, said something about some people not knowing how to accept help, and turned back to his friends like I'd ceased to exist. They moved away, still laughing. Caitlin immediately started pulling napkins from her purse, asking if I was okay. I wiped off what I could, but the shirt was ruined, and the smell of whiskey clung to me. We left shortly after because I couldn't stand being there in soaked clothes while that guy held court. Caitlin spent the entire ride home ranting about entitled rich guys who think money excuses terrible behavior, but something about the casual cruelty bothered me more than it should have. Being called a peasant in front of a crowd was particularly degrading. Saturday and Sunday passed in a blur of interview prep and trying to forget Friday night. We had 3 finalists coming in Monday, all with impressive credentials on paper. I needed to determine which one would actually fit our collaborative environment. Sunday evening, I laid out my interview clothes and reviewed notes one final time. Monday morning arrived with rain, and I grabbed coffee on the way to the office while mentally preparing for assessments. Our first candidate was scheduled for 9 o'clock, a developer from Chicago with an impressive portfolio of mobile applications. I settled into the conference room with my team, Jordan from QA and Leslie from product management, both excellent at reading people beyond their technical skills. We reviewed the candidate's resume one more time, noting his 3 years at a major fintech company and his recent work on payment processing systems. The receptionist called at 9 sharp to say our candidate had arrived, and I told her to send him to the conference room. The door opened 30 seconds later, and the guy from Friday night walked in, calm, perfect, and completely unaware until our eyes met. The look on his face changed everything. The rest of the story is on my channel or linked below.